Heck yeah, we back for episode 36 at Chasing Tails. Just got back from the HRL Gala. Good time up there. Lots of different things going on in the meetings. We got APBA's convention coming up this weekend. A lot of rule proposals. Maybe go over some of them. It's a little late for your all's opinions, but we'll let you have them if you want to drop them in the comments. But yeah, the gala was great. The meetings went great. What'd you think, Kyle? Was that your first time at the gala?
No, that was my second. I went in like 2018, 2017, something like that.
Yeah.
It
What do you
was
think of
it,
the show, the performance they put on?
it was fun. I know the first or the only other year I went was one of the first times they had Steve doing it, and it was fun to kind of have it be a little bit more on the funny side and more upbeat than just I've been to a couple banquets, and not all banquets are as energetic and keep people laughing and having a good time. So
For
that's
sure.
definitely a fun aspect of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It doesn't feel like what it started 7, goes to like 11:15. Doesn't feel like that long until you
No,
get out there and
not at
you're
all.
like, God damn,
Yeah,
how we
first
gonna
time I
keep
actually
this
checked the
party
time,
going?
I was like, shit, it's 10:15 already.
Yeah,
Well,
kind
the
of
best
crazy.
part the best part of any banquet's the cocktail hour. Let's be honest.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
you're you're chatting.
Although, dude, that gala
Yeah,
was a little big for that little area they got.
yeah. They kicked us out into a different room, but I think it was only the Americans they kicked out. It was kind of like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
segregation up here.
Like eight of us walked out and nobody else moved.
But yeah, it was kind of cool. Obviously, on the somber note or whatever you want to call it, we had to go through a lot of different safety things that they're improving after the accident with Francois this year in Valleyfield. They had, I think it was Tom from Tiger Performance, go over some things and a lot of things I learned. They had their dunk test on Friday, and actually about 50% of the mass did not work in the pool. So that's kind of wild to hear. Just some with fitment issues, some with regulator issues. Come to find out, I guess the regulators need to be matched up with your air mask. That's kind of why I guess some of us have a hard time breathing on full time air while we're racing. That was news to me, and I've been doing this a long time.
Huh.
Yeah,
I
so
know
that
what
Yeah,
I know what my mask it is. It's hard to pull when you're breathing on bottled air. Like when you're going through a corner and your pill pops up and you
yep,
start breathing off the bottle. It's hard to suck in. I mean, I get air, but it takes it definitely takes some trying to. I'm not even going to say it, but it takes some hard breathing to get to it.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's kind of wild. I
I
mean,
was, I
it's
was wondering how you're gonna get
I
that
know.
one.
I'm like, man, if I say
No
this,
good way.
they are going to set me off for.
dude.
I'm like,
If
I ain't
Oh
walking in
shit.
that one.
if I can send my regulator out and get it matched up with my Tiger mask, and I can pull regular oxygen, that's at least half a second a lap I can gain because I don't
For
have to hit that
sure.
button.
For sure.
Like I'm good. But yeah, that's kind of wild. What's going on with that kind of stuff, and just seeing equipment failures in the pool is kind of interesting. Obviously, with Tom being there from Tiger, fixed a lot of them. He's going to go back to their next dunk test up there, and just some procedural things. Dan Allaire is running the rescue team up in HRL now, and they're putting in a lot of different things, blackout goggles, stuff like that. Just lots and lots more training. I think they're going to be well prepared for anything that happens next year, and that's definitely feels good as a driver sitting in there listening to that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I can't speak based on experience yet, at least. But I mean, like I think the point Tom made about sending your mask out to get serviced, ideally every year, is not a bad point. I mean, especially after 50% of them don't work in the pool. Um,
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of our main lifeline if things go wrong. So, not necessarily saying everybody needs to do it every single year, but I think at a minimum you should be checking it before you get to the first race. And let's be honest, I don't think a lot of people do.
no, even the regulator side of it, like with it being tuned for your mask and even just maintenance to it, I don't think I've ever sent a regulator out, and that's poor on us. But it was kind of just reassuring to hear it. I forget the guy's name that's on the rescue team in HRL that was explaining that to me. But just that he showed me pictures of a regulator within a year. It was all corroded, and anytime you get corrosion like that in a regulator, it's not going to work properly. So definitely was nice, eye opening for sure. Hopefully, you guys listening take a look at all your safety equipment this year and do your due diligence on that stuff. I don't have a problem getting out of the boat because one time, and Bobby knows this well. Would Rebel tell you what would happen if he gets to the boat before you?
Man, he said that if I'm not out of the boat by the time he gets there. He's gonna pull me out and teabag me. Never will I go upside down when Region 4 Rescue was there.
That's why
You
Bobby
know,
about swims to the shore.
Man,
yeah, I can't say I've ever been thankful for my last name being a little different. That probably saved me in the skiff because he pulled me out, and I don't think he knew I was related to you guys.
Oh, that's you
yeah.
got lucky.
I
You got
got
lucky.
lucky.
That
Keep
said,
it that
Mason
way.
was so glad when he
Yeah,
reached. He's like, I've never been so happy to have a man reach behind me and pick me up.
So I mean I believe there's other things they need to look at with going upside down. Um, I know when I went over in a 350 at Wildwood, I was trying to get out and I got stuck. I was halfway out of the boat and I got stuck. I didn't pull the release pin on the steering column to make it go up. For one, we never pulled the pin. I because I can get in and out of top of the cockpit without pulling the pin. Second, it wasn't something was wrong with it where it was hard to get in and out, so I always left it.
Mhm.
But so when I had to get out, I could feel the divers jump on the bottom of the boat, and I could see someone swimming under the boat. I'm like, oh fuck. Um, so I had to tell them, hold on 1 second, and then I undid my helmet and I took my helmet off to get out. Because there's not much room between that steering column and the top of the cockpit or the bottom. I think which way was it? Well, either way, my helmet couldn't fit through. So
That's a big hit, bro.
yeah, that's something else that they need to look at and make sure that if you have a column that steering column that can move, steering arm that can move, to make sure that pin can come out and that arm can move up and down. So in case there's
Make
an
sure you
incident
actually
that
pull the quick release on the
I
wing.
mean,
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I could have stayed under there all day. That quick release wouldn't come out. So
Right.
probably bad on our part for not making sure that could come out. But
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
you live and learn. But
I
I
didn't
know at
dislike the
least
idea of the. Or go ahead, Austin.
knowing APBA, I hear it almost every weekend racing. The safety team they drill into us that find your zipper, go down, and get that routine in your head. And I think that goes a step further. I know us having the escape hatch this year, one of the first things mom and dad both made us do was just make sure we could get in and out of it. And
yeah,
obviously, after the accident with Francois, mom was freaking out again. And she's like, have you guys tried it? Have you guys tried with all your equipment? And I mean,
yeah.
it makes sense though. We have these safety things and we plan for almost every event. So why not try every event when you're at least on the trailer?
Well, even if you're in the water after a race, don't don't undo everything while looking at it. Just like follow your zipper down, undo your belts, then undo your steering wheel. Don't try to look down to find it because you're just teaching yourself how to find it without looking. So that's something you can practice after every heat of coming back in.
Yeah. One thing they were talking about, and it's in their training procedures now, is that like when you do the dunk test, you have to stay in there for 2 minutes or whatever their time is. Let it fill up because their capsule doesn't fill up with water right away like the Region 4 and other regions. So you sit there, let it fill up, make sure you can breathe on your own, and then the diver kind of taps and gives you the okay to get out. And it's kind of it's neat. Me, I'm more of a race kind of guy. I'm gonna get out, but I mean, it's good practice to know your equipment works and know that if you're ever in that situation where something's jammed, you're okay. Rescue's gonna get there and just stay calm.
I don't want to stay under that long.
No,
I don't even
We know,
swim
Bob.
longer than 2 minutes.
You're unbuckling before you hit the water.
yeah,
I don't.
exactly.
I don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bob defeats the purpose of every safety feature.
Yeah, ejecto Tito, cuz he's like, if I
Takes
had a
his helmet
button, I'd be
off,
out.
too bad we didn't
mask
have it.
off.
Too bad we didn't have an onboard of me flipping the 2.5 mod. I was getting out of there in the air. I was like, I'm gone.
But I think was so far up, you probably thought you landed on the moon
Hey man,
or
I didn't
Mars.
know. I didn't know what was going on. That being that high.
Especially with like the escape hatches, ours has one, but not a lot of the 2.5s or the 2500s do. But like with the 350s and then the GPs, I didn't dislike that idea of the glow in the dark, you know, strips or whatever to put on certain, handles, levers, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
not a
mean,
bad idea.
that shit works in pitch black. I'm pretty sure it's gonna kind of work underwater. I know like the visibility, like distance wise, can be challenging at some places, but I feel like you might at least get a glimpse of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raises the
When,
chance.
yeah,
Yeah. At least you're giving yourself more options. I mean, I know. I feel like every time I've landed upside down, I've just kept my eyes shut. But
Yeah.
definitely, if you're like in a jam and can't find something, if you open your eyes and look, obviously it gives you another opportunity for it. So, but yeah, I think I said it in the meeting or said it to somebody that like I feel like the escape hatch is more of a rescue get to me and like make sure my air is working, like access me because I don't think old big boy getting out no damn escape hatch. I don't bend that well anymore.
I'm getting out that bitch.
yeah,
So
it's the
I'm gonna
second half
just
of getting
wait.
out that looks like it might be tough for you, man.
Right, yeah, it's that role. I mean, Andrew got stuck in unlimited, and that's about same cockpit. He a lot skinnier than I am.
I
Anything
mean,
else from the meetings? Or go ahead, Bob.
the, the escape hatch is a good feature. Like not a lot of cockpits have that, but I also think, I said I don't want to be in the water that long, but what HRL is teaching is to stay under there, is to try to stay calm when you're upside down. Because say your escape hatch, all right, say you do get stuck, try to stay calm. Or say you can't get your lid open up top, stay calm. Because a lot of times with these cells, when you flip, you're not getting your lid open until the water comes in and the pressure
Pressure,
equalizes.
yeah,
Um, so you know, you
Also,
just
got
got to
ours.
stay calm. You just got to stay calm. I believe it
Quick
was,
release.
yeah, what was
Ejecto Lido.
Claude Bergeron
Claude, and
flipped, and he literally, because he's such a small guy, he flipped around in the cockpit, and then the divers came down, and then he went like this. He's like 1 minute, 1 minute. And then he took his time and then went out the escape hatch.
That's funny.
I wish I was
Bagardini
that
did
small
it
to flip
too.
around. Did he?
Bagardini did it too one time. He got out the escape hatch. Him and Jan, I know two in GP that got out without getting a drop of water on them.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Well, I got out of the 350 without a drop of water on me.
It's
I mean, it was
impressive.
starting. I could see it was starting to fill up, but I'm like, I'm sitting there trying to get my helmet off, watching the water go bloop 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 bloop
You
bloop.
got more water on you when they dropped you in the stretcher, huh?
Dude, that hurt because, man, they're going. I don't know whoever's watching who's ever been to Wildwood, but so here's the docks, and then here's the shore up here. So you have these long, steep ramps to go up. Well, they're carrying me up the dock, up the ramp, and I'm going feet first. And I know who was
That's a
carrying
bad
me.
feeling.
I know who was carrying me, but they're carrying the top, and then they slipped. So when they slipped, they dropped me. So I hit the ground, and then when he fell, he headbutted me. I was like, oh man. Everyone's like, after I got back to the shore, they're like, you all right? I'm like, that hurt more than flipping the boat.
We got a
Right.
concussion now.
Yeah,
Man,
exactly.
that was rough, but that was hilarious though.
For sure.
Yeah, I
So yeah,
remember one diver's like, you looked really confused when you dazed and confused when you got out of the boat. I'm like, bro, I just slammed it in the corner, hit another boat, and barrel rolled it. Of course I'm gonna be dazed and confused.
right. I don't even know which way's up at this
I'm
point.
like, man, my boat's upside down. What are you talking about? All right, let's go.
Yeah, Pete Hackett. Just to wrap up on the rescue thing, Region Three. They started a Region Three rescue up there in um, Tonawanda, Niagara area. Pete Hackett's on that team and all that stuff. And they said they want to add another access point and add an air fitting in the capsule, something easier they can plug into, I guess, to make sure you have air besides what's in your boat. So that's pretty cool. They're just, I mean, they're steady focused on it, and that's exciting. It's unfortunate it takes an accident to make improvements, but at least improvements are being done. I would say that about wraps it up on what they said for that. The marketing, obviously, we just had Janik on right before the gala, but she went through all their increases in HRL and the amount of followers they have. They have 15,000 people that have downloaded their app. Just steady increase. They've let's see, the ages are like 25 to 45 are increasing, so that's kind of a prime area of ages. And then she did a comparison of like our reels to Formula One, and it was kind of wild how we get more views than most Formula One videos, and that's the cream of the crop there. So it's really cool to see. It just shows the uniqueness about hydroplane racing and what we can do to maximize it on social media.
You already knew that video with Sam was going to top the charts as soon as it came out, man.
Oh yeah, that thing was
One
sick. Just
one
hanging
point
it.
7 million.
Yeah,
That's sick.
that's wild. I still will figure out the algorithm someday, but I don't understand it. Some hit, some don't. Time. Obviously, Brian has a better idea of how that stuff works and just
Yeah.
keeps pumping it out.
Yeah, no doubt. Were there any other good topics in any of the meetings? I mean, it was mostly safety in the morning.
Yeah, I think it was
remember talking
safety.
about
Let's
much
see.
else.
Let's
Well,
see what
They
else
did
they
the
say.
financials and
They opened
Um,
up the Honda.
yeah.
No, I'll get to that. Come,
Okay.
come on. I'm going. I
Go
went through my
down,
list
Jumping
because
the
I
gun.
was like, how did we go through this meeting? Because then I went to the marketing meeting. They got me poutine. That was so nice of them. Everybody else had chicken and pizza. I
How
said
do you say it?
poutine. I think that's what they told me a long time ago. Pootie tang. Everybody else had chicken and pizza. They're like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I don't come up here to eat American food. So give me some poutine." Anyway, and then we got back to Sorrel. I forget his name. The promoter of that course was just talking about the things they're going to try different, like with the ferry direction and these other things. They might put barges out there to try to break up some of the boat traffic, water, stuff like that. I mean, it's good. He seemed very concerned about racer safety. Obviously, he likes the event, wants it to continue, but wants racers to be safe. So hopefully, everything they do are improving that course.
Did you catch his response to Sam's suggestion about tilting the course away from the seawall? 'Cause it
Yeah,
kind
I
of runs
think
right into that corner. I didn't hear what his response was to that.
he pointed it back to Emily and them that like,
Okay.
can we do that? So I think he'd be open to it.
I mean, I just I mean, you can see it in our intro. Like that corner was, I'd argue, the worst on the course.
Yeah, and
The
it got
beginning
really
of it and through it, at least through
right.
the apex of it.
And then the finals just made it worse because you had so many boats out there and
Yeah.
so many boats close together. The final, I feel like, in the warm up, you troll a lot slower. I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
what
what
it is,
gets
so that just
everybody in.
makes it worse.
Well, I mean, the backstretch. I mean, obviously, I'm only speaking from watching live stream, but the backstretch looked horrible.
I mean, it was bumpy, but it got significantly worse when you got down to turn two.
Was
Like,
it?
right
I
at
mean,
the
that's-
entrance and through the apex. It was. I mean, it was.
And that's where Bert's
It was just
accident
a-
was, correct?
Yeah,
Bath.
from Bert's accident to where the dude launched in it in the intro. That's
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
bad.
'cause
It was a war
I
zone.
believe in our intro to the to the podcast,
you
you
can
see Bert in the background when the boats are going through the corner, and that's where his accident was.
Yeah.
from entrance to exit.
Yep.
I gotta be honest though, I don't remember seeing a ferry. I remember seeing some
Yeah,
big ass.
they said it
offshores
leaves
just go
every.
ripping down the backstretch, but
They said it leaves every 30 minutes, and then it would kind of veer over a little bit. So then, like when you throttle up, they think the wakes were coming like every 30 minutes. So it's possible. Obviously, they probably watch the live stream and kind of just watch the videos back, trying to figure it out. So,
for sure.
at least
Hey,
they're
Kyle.
trying something.
Ronnie
I
says
know.
he can't hear you.
I
You gotta
already
speak up.
moved it closer.
Oh, okay.
So
But yeah,
let's see what, and
I
then
don't know, we'll
general
see.
rules. What was changed in those general rules? I think a bunch of silly stuff.
They didn't drop the breathalyzer rule.
Wording. No,
Bummer.
I think they're considering. I had some serious meetings that they're considering bumping it back at least, not a
Bumping it
7:30
back-
in the
bump it-
morning thing.
That
Bump
would
it
be
back to
sweet.
10,
I'd say it's 10 we start
Shit,
racing, so I'd say
9
9
would
is
work.
perfect.
9:30.
Yep. You know why they started that? Because they asked if they're gonna. Who asked? Are you gonna start breathalyzing officials or something?
Yeah.
I
Somebody
forget
asked
what
that.
it was.
Or it was it was breathalyzing the rescue crew.
Oh, the rescue, and then they're like, "Oh, officials are next." So nope, we got to bump this thing back.
It was funny. John Shaw looked at me and he's like, "You give them a lot of power, man. They don't want to work that day. They just all fail that shit.
Right, exactly. We're screwed.
There's
Next
nothing
thing
we
you
can
know,
do."
it's racers on the starting line. You want to race? You guys get up there in between heats. Like, dang, it's back to an APBA
Well,
race.
To be honest, I think the only thing we cannot replace at a race site is rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can replace the race director. We can replace the referee, turn judges, all those people, except rescue. We gotta
Yeah,
have those
can't do
guys.
that. Yeah, yeah. Obviously, you already heard us say we don't swim well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other racing rules? I'm trying to think. Looking. I don't really
There
know.
wasn't
See if I
wasn't a
took any
ton of-
pictures.
ton of big stuff that I remember. I was kind of like getting lost in between the conversation being in French and then English.
Yeah, anytime it becomes an argument, it's all French, and then they don't
Brandon, did
translate.
you try your little ear
I
translation thing?
forgot to buy them, man. I was so disappointed.
Man,
That would
It
have
would
been
have been
sweet.
perfect for the Honda meeting for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
well, I guess we just get on to that. So
let's go to the
HRL
Honda.
HRL has opened it up. There's no longer any dyno sealing up there. Going to be a spec ECU. Everybody's going to have the same tune. Kind of exciting. Obviously, it's a pretty spec engine. I think, like we've talked about so many times on here, we still need to monitor it. If we start getting a whisper of someone getting ahead, let's figure it out. Maybe we got to add a rule down the road. It's
Yep.
not the end of the world.
Yeah, you live and learn. I mean,
Yeah.
but the good thing is, if you want a Honda, you can build it yourself now. You just have to
Yep.
follow the spec sheet, go off the spec sheet, get the ECU from HRL or APBA now.
HRL, yeah.
HRL right
right
now.
right now it's going to be all through HRL because they built the tune. They want to kind of keep hold on it. I think things are going to open up. We got to work together. There's things on the table, but right now, if you ship it up there, they'll tune it for free. They'll flash it, lock it, and then you can't touch it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been back and forth in conversations with Eric, the guy that's doing a lot of stuff now, and then link management, and they're like, yeah, once it's locked, you can't get in. You can pretend you can get a password, but even I asked link management, I was like, if I send it to you, can you get in? They're like, no. Once that thing's password protected, you kind of
Eddie
screwed
can't
in.
time out. Eddie Canfouche said all new builds must have a Type 4 capsule.
Yep, for 2.5s and 350s.
Yep,
So that's cool.
that's cool. So
What's-
anyway,
what
yeah,
makes, what's the difference between Type 3, Type 4 again?
Bert's like lid blowing off type, and then a closed cell. That
Gotcha.
your old boat
or-
versus your new boat.
yeah.
Yep. I guess that would have been a simpler.
Yeah, that one would work pretty well.
But,
that one versus that one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah,
So they kind of went through some of that. They changed because of changing it up to the same tune file. They went through and made some changes to how it's done. It's going to be a closed loop system because they were noticing that sometimes the TPS would be a little off and you'd be running rich, and you can't really adjust for that. So now it's going to auto correct as you're racing up to 10% plus or minus, taking fuel away. And that I went through and like did a bunch of research that's really only like 2 jet sizes. So even if somebody gets in there and cheats, ports, polishes, whatever they want to do, they're going to get an advantage of plus 10%, 2 jet sizes. Like you're doing a lot of work for no gain. It's just really bridging the class even more because now that thing's going to tune at every race course and everybody's got the same thing.
so I don't know. It's exciting. We'll see going into this weekend what APBA does. The Honda rule proposals on the table. I hear
adjusted ours.
I hear they might want to push it back to 2026. I beg the IRC members don't do that. Never in the history have we ever brought in a new engine and held it off for a year to bring it into the class. Never in the history have we ever had a engine being brought in this close to the current engine that actually still makes the current engine competitive. If you look at the 350, the 305, obsoleted. You look at the 2-stroke, the 3KC, obsoleted. You look at the Ford that we run now, the 2000, obsoleted. This is the only engine ever brought in to racing that makes the current engine still competitive. So
Yeah.
it needs to be brought in 2025, no later than that. We have a parts issue. You can't get heads. You can't get cams. We needed this fix 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it's here now, and we need to deliver.
Yeah, it's not going to make a huge difference. Maybe a couple people might set records. Like if they want to freeze records for a year for the Honda, whatever. There's only like 1 or 2 people that care about records. There's only 1 or 2 people that care about winning the nationals. We need to look at the whole 31 boats that are registered.
Well, I mean,
Oh.
like the IRC said, they want to. If this passes, they would like to freeze all the records of 2.5 stock.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Did they do that with the 350?
No,
should know.
because they were broke right away.
Yeah. I was on the IRC with 350, but
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was
I don't
thinking
remember
today when
doing
I rewrote the rule to get rid of the dyno sealing, add some of the things HRL added, like the mandatory fuel pressure sensor, stuff like that, just to align perfectly with them. And I realized we went through this, whatever, 10 years ago. That aluminum head was like this, went in. It's like, oh, we can't get iron heads anymore. Here's this package with an aluminum head. And we had to run it that year because I remember we couldn't get one for Carson's boat right away. Like we had
Yeah.
to beg and borrow to get one for that season because it came in so fast. And that was a bigger horsepower difference and speed difference than this is, in my opinion. Well, not in my opinion, it's facts. Like look at an iron head versus an aluminum head. Unless you got a trick iron head, you ain't competing.
Yeah.
The iron
know
head
if
to get it
anybody's
right,
running
you
them
got to
anymore.
spend so much time on the dyno.
Yeah. So
I
I mean
mean-
that's it's just like go back in time. You see that in this class, and we didn't make any qualms about that. We just said, oh, we have to do it. So we're at the same point right now. There's no sense in putting it off. Especially, I mean, we got a brand new guy, like we said, and it's been brought to the IRC. Matt Sontag buys a boat. The only real reason he got excited about buying a 2.5 stock is because of the talk of the Honda. So that we can't get new blood in this class, and this is the class that everybody should start in because of the cost. It's competitive. You need a new package. Nobody wants to go buy somebody else's junk if they go out and buy a new boat. Like they want to buy good stuff.
I mean, 2.5 stock is great. If you look across the board, how many people started in 2.5 stock? So many people have climbed the ranks up through from 2.5 stock to GP to unlimited. And
Look how many of those people still race 2.5 stock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Listen.
like I still do. Jeff still does. Jeff Bernard.
Bobby, you would still race J stock if you were allowed.
I know. J. Michael Kelly J. Michael Kelly still races 2.5 stock.
It's the
a
best
great
bang
class.
for your buck class, especially if we can get the motor cost down and they live forever. I know it's a little bit of an investment in the beginning, but when you hear guys running them for 4 years, you're not touching them. Like that's exciting. Like
And
these
then the
motors
next is
should
half
last.
price.
Yeah, exactly. The next motor's like $4,000. I mean, you can have two of them, but you probably only need one for 5 years. That's brings excitement back to that class, and it's
Yep.
we will
So
have
what,
a rental boat.
what other good rule proposals are there to talk about on the for next weekend? Or actually, it's this week.
Well, I mean, I think you got the
Monitors.
two pressing issues: the Honda, well, the most vocal issues, the Honda, and then the age issue with the H350. They changed it some number of years back to where you
From
had
what
to
I
be
from what
18.
I hear, they changed it like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I'd love to like go back in the like notes or people that were on the IRC at that time. Why'd you change it?
I
What
don't
makes
think the
what
IRC
makes the
is.
350
I
different
don't
than a
think.
305?
I don't think it wasn't even a 305 issue because 305 the 350s have been in for over 10 years. So then the IRC hasn't changed that much. There's still a lot of people in the IRC now than when they changed the age a few years ago. So I
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
what changed? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know. I know they're trying to put like an experience rule in, but I think the bigger picture is all motorsports are getting younger. I mean, you got kids like we've talked about. You got kids running 12 years old, running a Trans Am car at Road Atlanta, which is doing a buck 80 in the turn 10. Like, kids are built different these days. Me, at 16, Raylan asked me to drive the Bird, the one up there that I flipped. And I was like, nope, I ain't ready for that. Give me a couple more years of experience. Well, but I think it'll get changed. Hopefully, I guess.
And no, Eddie, we don't know about it. Pipes asked if we talked about the Honda, and then Eddie said, never heard of the Honda thing. I don't think they know about it.
Huh. That's interesting.
I just said we'll get to the Honda here shortly.
Ben LeMay said it's gonna be so loud, and I don't disagree, man. You get 8 of them Hondas out there, you're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
have to have more earmuffs than Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Hey,
We
So-
might need to put a muffler on them things.
So back to the age thing, I would like to say if it's not broke, don't fix it. But they tried to fix it. Now they're trying to fix it again. I don't know. I think you put them on, rather than experienced, you put them on a longer restriction if they're under 18. Put them
Yeah.
on a longer restriction. Make sure they can handle it, because it is a lot different from going from a 1.5 stock to a 350, 2.5 stock to a 350, or even 1 liter mod to a 350.
Yeah.
Just the racing is a lot different. It's a lot tighter, a lot more aggressive. If you think 2.5 stocks are aggressive, when you step in 350, Those guys have money to repair their boats. They don't care.
Yo, who's got that noise on
I
there?
don't
That
know, but it's annoying
rattling
the shit
noise.
out of me. It's Bob or Austin.
Austin, come on, bro.
How is it me?
Oh no, something is like rattling.
It's so
I'm looking at my audio. It's not making any bars.
That's Austin.
Anyway, we're gonna move through it.
Jeez.
But yeah, yeah, that's a good point on the restriction. I think HRL. I haven't looked at their rule book in a while, but I think their whole step up program, then the restrictions are good. Um, I mean, you got guys that just jump in. That's their first boat is a 350, and now you're going out and within a few heats, you're able to put it in the middle if you want. Especially fighting for lanes, you got to put it in the middle most of the time because you're not going to get lane one. You're not good enough for that, and maybe you can measle into the middle lanes, and then oh wow, you're out to lunch then. So I don't think there's any perfect answer to it. I do think it's going to get changed, but you getting
Yeah.
annoyed by that noise too?
It went away and then came back.
No, it's back.
I muted myself for a minute.
That's
Yeah, it's
totally
you,
that's
bro.
totally
Calm
Austin.
yourself. All right,
What?
Austin's not talking
Mute-
the rest of the time. Mute your
yourself till
mic.
you
'Cause
wanna
I don't know
talk,
what that
which
is.
rarely, so we'll be good.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. What's
There we go.
rattling? Dang, Austin out of control this episode.
He probably just took a dump in his bathroom and his exhaust fan in his bathroom's on it. That's why you're hearing.
Is it still going?
Yeah.
Take
You ain't
your
got
hat,
no Legos?
dude. You can't hear what it is. Take these off. Take these off.
Jesus.
There's
Got better.
nothing.
You two
It's
are
better.
painful, man.
Hey,
It's gone
it
now.
might have fixed itself. All right. So yeah, so that's our opinion on that rule, I guess. What's next?
Hold on.
You got
One thing I
another
wanted to add. I think there's like two sides of it because, like you said, like there's people that just get in that's their first boat. I mean, you had Alex last year. There's
Yep.
no rule that you can put in place to prevent him. That's why I like Bob's restriction idea because there's really no way to figure out if somebody can handle it unless you stick them out there and
Right.
see. And I think outside lane restriction is really the best way we have to go about testing that. Because I mean, you can go stick somebody out on the course by themselves and they'll look fine.
Yeah, for sure.
So I also
Or-
want to add, I have no doubt in my mind that Grant can do it.
Or-
he's gonna be fine.
Or
Yeah,
if
he
you
got
you know,
screwed by the circumstances, really. that
or
got
you do like
changed.
GP, or you do like GP to qualify a GP. But say you change some wording around, like rather than driving GNH and then you only have to do one heat on the outside like an APBA or HRO. If you drive 2.5 stock and step up to 350, you only have to do X amount on the outside and then referee's discretion.
Yeah. There's also like it's hard to put those stipulations on like say a young driver because Grant had really good experience, tight competition. His whole HRL 2 years were tight competition. What if the guy runs like 2.5 in say Region 4 where there's only 3 boats and he's 16 and you're like, hey, you can get in because you had 20 heats last year. He really didn't have experience, so it's hard to put that experience and a tagline on that. But I just think you gotta throw them to the wolves every now and then. It is what it is. I feel safer sometimes with young kids than some of the old guys out there. No offense
Yep.
to the old guys, but
Some of those old guys scare you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
People that don't race or don't know boat racing, like they always one of the
Shut up,
first questions
Alex.
they ask. They're like, how'd you figure it out? Like how did you practice? And I was like, you don't.
Well,
You just get in the boat. If you're lucky, you get a couple test laps at your first race, but that's about it.
that's about it. You learn by getting thrown to the fire. That first time you get a squeeze in the first turn, you're like, all right, memory bank.
you
Oh,
gonna
shit,
learn,
yeah.
boy.
I'm
That's
gonna have
usually the
my,
first time you try to take lane one.
yeah,
Battlefield
I'm
turn
gonna have my
two.
nose
Learn
up
real
there
quick.
next time.
Lap 4 of the final. That was like a pinball.
Yep. Yeah, you thought you had it. Nope.
That shit sucked, man.
Where was that?
Valleyfield.
Valleyfield.
Turn 2.
Yeah, that
first
time
year.
you were probably yelling at him, go, 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 go.
Oh yeah.
You're
Don't
like
lift.
Mike Gundow on the radio. Don't lift. I'm not lifting, bro.
Tire windshield got yellow real quick.
Yeah.
So the the GPA
What,
just announced the schedule today.
yeah.
My
It's a
jumping
big-
the gun.
No, I mean we can jump around. It's our show.
Yeah, let's
We
jump
can do
around.
what we want.
So
Well, first off, we announced a GP challenge last week, so that's really
Yeah.
cool. That's coming back. I think
Yep.
there's going to be some big numbers of boats in that. We're only going to guarantee 10 boats to the fans because we've we've overpromised and underdelivered a lot of times. I think we're going to do it the opposite this year, and it's going to be north of 10 for sure at all three events, but we'll see.
Well,
I
I
So
mean,
we're
think I think the two groups coming together, we're going to have good numbers.
yeah,
So, I mean,
it's always a hard balance and stuff like this because you gotta have enough to promote. You don't want to say 5 boats and really under promise because then you're not going to get anybody show up.
yeah. I
I
know
don't mean I'm not trying to
Madison Regatta.
obsolete the banner
Good.
behind Kyle, but I mean, I don't want to stress this enough that we're not looking at GP anymore as two groups. It's just GP. It's just
Yeah.
GP. We all got to work together.
Yeah, I don't think it's long in the making that it's just going to be a one group GP and we race for GPA and HRL, or GP races for H1 and HRL. I mean,
Yeah.
the new regime in H1 might want us under their banner. It's for their marketing purposes. So then we're just GP. So we'll see. There's a lot on the horizon in that aspect. I feel like that, but I just had that conversation with Emily and Janik today on Zoom that like it's really cool that every organization is working together now,
Yeah.
and I
Yep.
think that's just the coolest thing. That we've been in the trenches for years of, oh, I hate them, and you still hear it every now and then, but like if you go to the core people at the top of the food chain here, they're all wanting to work together, and that's really cool.
Yeah. That's the biggest part is working together. We're a small group. Um, and you can only benefit from working with each other. If you work against each other, it's only going to take 10 times longer to try to make the sport bigger.
Okay.
So, but let's go through that list. We have, well, let me do the face ID
What
thing.
list we doing?
We got,
Oh, the GPA schedule.
yeah, we
Go
got
ahead.
Guntersville
Hey, you said it
in
right.
June. I said it right.
It took
Yeah.
him 2
Breaking
years.
ground, boys.
Who the hell
Yeah.
bribed you to do
All
that?
right. So we got Guntersville June 6th and 8th. We have the Madison Regatta 4th, 5th, and 6th. Uh, Valleyfield the 11th to 13th. Tri Cities the 25th and 27th of July. August 1st, we have Seafair. That's tentative. Hopefully, they can get that going, get it on the books. Uh, August yet to be determined. I know what August is, but the mark your we can't. There's not announced yet. We're not going to say on the podcast, but make sure you keep your
Bob's
Mark
gonna
your
try to
calendars. I
not
like
say
that.
it on the
Mark your
podcast.
calendars.
mark your
I like that.
calendars. The 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of August. Don't keep it open. Um, that's if you're east of the Mississippi. If you're west of the Mississippi, if you like to travel, then you can keep it open too. The 12th, 13th, and 14th of September is San Diego Bay Fair. But, I just want to keep touching on this one date, the August 22nd date. If this race happens, it's going to be huge. It's going to make a lot of fans excited to have this race. It's going to make a lot of racers excited too because it's a great venue, a lot of history. So if this race does come back, it's going to be huge for our sport, huge for the racers, the everything all around. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that I
Sorry,
mean
boys,
Seattle.
you'll be racing somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll be
that
up in
and
Cornwall.
that and Seattle being back is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, Seattle being back really sucks because of Tonawanda, and it's not enough time for any race dates to change. But I mean, for the guys out west and the guys in GPA East that want to travel out there, I mean, you're going to do two races back to back, and Seattle's such a huge venue for boat racing. I know a lot of people get excited about the TV, but I don't even think it's just that. It's just like that is what H1 or unlimited racing was built on. It's a huge event. I know it's
Yeah,
lost some of its luster for the boat racing, but I guarantee you take a bunch of Grand Prix back there, we might start taking away from the air show a little bit.
let's get. I would really like. I know we have our GP challenge that's Guntersville, Madison, and Valleyfield, but I would like to see at least a few GPs go to Tri Cities in Seattle. We got to support the West Coast just as much as the West Coast supports us. They've been coming out here for years. Everyone's finally getting the ball rolling with this whole GP class coming back together. Now it's time to show some love out there. Like I know a lot of teams did at San Diego, but Also gotta show us some love up at like Tri Cities. I mean that race is huge. They want boats there. They have the money. Um, so and a lot of most of the West Coast racers that come out, they are from Washington. They're not from San Diego. So it would be cool for us to go support them in their home state.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
it's just like the Hops Richards, the, you know all them, the GP20. They've been supporting us for so long. It's time to start giving back. And I know Ed Thompson. He plans on going out there. You have Mahan. He plans on going out there. But it would be cool to get a couple more. Like if the 35 can swing it, that would be awesome. Um, the GP50, they won out to San Diego last year.
They'll
I
have
don't
to
know.
stay for
Right, have
Tonawanda.
to stay for Tonawanda, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But Lupton's, I really even hate to ask the Luptons to travel. They already traveled to come support the race. But if it would be cool to see them out there because I don't know of a bigger name that's tossed around more than Lupton's these days, especially if you have a freaking blow up poster cut thing out of them at the gala. Like, you know what? You know what? What's scary? There were poster cuts out of Jack and Ken. You should have seen what the poster cutout hands were actually doing.
Yeah.
It was a little worrisome. Like, yo, you gotta keep your hands to yourself. I know you're just a blow up poster, but come on now.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah,
But
it's, I mean, a lot of big stuff happening. Honestly, yeah, I love Tonawanda. The town does a great job. Everyone, the committee's great.
yeah,
It's unfortunate. Maybe things will change next year with if this happens and it becomes a long term thing. Then dates can move around. There's a lot of open dates, especially in August. I think. So I think this year they'll still have a decent boat count there and be able to put on a good show for their fans, keep them happy. And yeah, that's just try to make this challenge great. And then the West Coast swing, I was looking at the owners that could go out there, and I think they can have a good show of 10 boats as well out there pretty easily.
I figured
Um,
it out, Brandon.
there is a
I
new
know,
one too breaking. Well, I don't know. It hasn't been
I
announced,
know
but
how to support Tonawanda and Tri Cities. I'll go out to Tri Cities with the GP. You go to
Yeah.
Tonawanda with the skiff.
nah, I did that in for everybody. Apparently, you sink one there. They're like, yeah, we ain't putting these things back on here again.
I mean, yo, we're
Come
already
on,
gonna be there with the 2.5.
Oh yeah,
right?
there you go.
Yeah,
There
you'll
you
be
go.
there. Yeah. So
Well, we have breaking
Yeah.
news. What do we have
yeah,
breaking news on?
the
Kyle
G
Bipes has
G
something to say.
Nah, he has no breaking news. That boy can't get nothing done. I mean, he's
No.
trying to turn into running Miss Madison Racing. He's struggling over there. I did see breaking news. Apollo said they're going to run as Miss Madison Racing. That was just out of the blue.
Yeah.
Really?
Kind of decided on their own. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how that progresses over the coming weeks and stuff.
That's
But
interesting.
the breaking GP news is the GP14 Hearn Motorsports boat was sold, and it's already out west in Tri Cities.
Really?
So yeah,
Damn.
teams planning to run it this year.
Man, don't tell me Brian Richards bought a fourth boat.
No, he did not buy a fourth
Oh,
one.
okay. I was
He
about to
It-
say,
did
it's
not.
crazy.
someone
No,
take
he-
this guy to the loony bin. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
he's still trying to figure out how to get the third one running. He bought a motor off us, and he's like, I don't know if you need to ship that or if I need to ship the boat. I'm like, look, Dad can get anything done. So you want the boat done quick and be ready to go? Send it out. We'll get her done.
Austin, that's ridiculous, dude.
Dude, it's
Is that
amazing.
what's been? That's what's been
It
rattling.
might be, dude.
This has
Yeah,
been on the
him on
ground the
that.
whole time.
Him on that Hornitos. That's the rattle.
Burritos.
So the 14 is out west, so that's cool. So you got a lot of GPs coming out swinging this year.
Yeah, and
Um,
then what's that guy's name? Eric Christensen's got the copper tone for sale, and I think that's a banger of a deal. It's like 59,000 with a motor or something like that, maybe 60 some. That's a good
engine,
boat.
trailer, pretty
Did they
much
got updated sponsons?
turnkey.
Yeah,
The-
yeah. After the accident in Detroit, he got the Burt Sponsons.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a GP that needs to be put on the water. I'd like to see it come out east.
That was
It
that
never
was one of the
hurts.
few boats to do a front flip. I mean,
Yep.
that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, it does send him flying.
That onboard
Tabletop
video
in
is
a
still
boat race.
wild, man.
Well, he kind
the
of did a front flip in
360.
Tonawanda
Oh, yeah.
last year too.
Yeah, endo. I would rather do a backflip than an endo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so that's exciting. So you got the 14 sold, and then you got the Apollo running as Miss Madison.
Yeah, no
I don't know.
driver
I
lined
mean,
up yet.
come on, Charlie Grooms, just buy a
gotta
quick
get-
boat.
Or is he going out there? Is he going to run that team? Did he sell himself with the team?
Did he sell? Probably. Everyone else sold themselves with the team.
Gotta follow money, man. That's how the sport works.
I don't know. It's a lot of trickery behind the scenes.
There's going to be
everyone
like
probably don't
30.
understand.
There's going to be like 30 press releases for H1 coming out within like a week of each other. Like so and so's driving this boat, so and so's buying this boat, so and so's.
When there's only 6 boats.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, but we're going to have 30 press releases.
Yeah.
I can sum up H1 in about 2 sentences and be done with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. How about, I mean, you got what, 3 out of the 6 seats open right now?
Yeah.
4, I think, actually. It's kind of wild to think.
My vote's for Taylor Evans to drive the U40, the crew chief. He needs to get in it.
There you go. That might scare him a bit.
I think he can handle it. You should see him wreck a F1 car when we race on the computer.
Yeah, I think that'll sign
Bob,
Kelly up for that idea. You should see him wreck one.
You know who
What's
should put
that?
in it? We should put Scott Witherell in it.
Oh,
Hell no.
Are y'all ever going to get a Chase and Tails Hydro Sim going or no?
We can get one going in the next week or so. Yeah, let's get it going. I got some downtime.
Even if we just do like a one night, like cutthroat race.
Yeah.
I mean, how are we going? Or is it going to be live streamed? Or
I think we live stream it.
If
Like
we do
I'll
a
announce
one-night
it.
thing for sure.
I don't like racing that crap. I suck at it. I tried driving the other week. Theo was playing, and I'm like, try and go through turn 2 wide open at Valleyfield. I was like, this shit ain't realistic. I can't do this.
I still think you need to get Theo on iRacing some on the dirt track so I can see how bad he kicks my ass.
Yeah, we do need to get him on that. Dallas was trying to get me to talked into taking him up Motorama and running his go-kart. It's like this indoor. They have like quarter midgets, all this stuff up in Pennsylvania. I was like, dude, you seen him drive on that go-kart track? He's not going somewhere where there's walls yet.
Taylor,
we learned that lesson, didn't we?
Taylor Evans just said, I can just hold the R key if I mess up, right? The reset key for Hydro Sim. Yeah, no problem. Just hit the R key, but you have some explaining to do to the big boss when you get back to the dock.
Yeah. Bipe said we're not doing that till you get him a wheel.
Oh, I gotta send it out.
You're supposed to ship that. Like
it's
today.
sitting in. I finally put it in a box, and it's in my garage, and it's meant for me to see when I leave my garage, but I haven't done much. So.
Maybe
You'll
he
get
should
it
come up
eventually,
and
Bipes. He's
pick it
doing
up.
one step each month.
There you go. Maybe he should come up and pick it up from you.
It would have been there faster.
So, any other news? Any other breaking news?
No,
Man.
I don't think so.
Burr Henderson's going to be back in a boat.
Yeah,
I don't know what boat, but
well,
maybe now.
They're building another 350.
Is that what he's going in?
I believe, yeah. I believe they're building another 350. The game on?
Yeah.
I believe that's it.
I heard he's going to be back in Unlimited too.
Yeah, he's going to be back in with Bardish. Bardish is bringing back his boat. I guess it's been in Brockville to get worked on, or he's been coming to Detroit, one of the two. But
nice.
He said Austin is still rolling that marble on his deck.
He's still making that noise.
Yeah, it is.
You said desk. I thought you said something else. Yeah, I don't think there's any other breaking news. Any other rule proposals?
I mean, we can make up some breaking news. We can make it saucy.
TMZ episode.
TMZ. That's
Only
what we need.
fans.
We
were
need people
talking
start. We need people to start sending us pictures of what's going on in the garage, so we can pick it apart and look at it and talk about it.
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah.
I want to see. I want Jimmy Stewart to take a picture of his whole garage. I want to see how many boats are in there and see if there's any hidden boat molds.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure
he said at the gala he's not working on Max's boat anymore. He's getting too close to him.
getting too close. That's great.
There's a lot of rule proposals in this binder.
Really?
Dominic
I
Roy
saw
said.
the list. I thought there was only like 10.
Oh,
Dominic
that's a
Roy
lot.
said the sounds like the rattling sounds like a casino roulette. Are you gambling
I
over
did
there?
talk
You
to
playing online gambling?
Yeah, exactly. I did talk to him at the
I'm
gala, and he's
sitting
gonna hop on an
still.
episode at some point with us.
Okay.
Chat about his vision of boat racing. He's been around it a lot, been an MC a lot, so
All right.
get a
He's
little
been doing
different
the gala
perspective.
for a while, hasn't he?
Yep.
So
No.
here's one. This is from Dave Shaw. Um, it's about running A, B, and even potentially C finals.
Hmm.
So were we just doing that like for shits this last year?
Yeah, I don't think there was any like set rule. So then people were like, "Man, how do they get points? They didn't make the final. They shouldn't get points." So now I think it's just kind of
More
align and
specific.
everything. But I mean that could go out the window too with APBA talking about rolling out this other point system. Where'd
Oh, they
Austin
are.
go? Find that marble.
Yeah, he dropped it.
Yeah, they're talking about going to just a standardized point system for all of APBA, outboards, inboards, offshore, everything.
He found it.
Did it fix it?
No,
Is
maybe
your
it
no?
was-
Absolutely
Is your
not.
cat? Is your cat playing with a ball or something?
Dude, my cat is up in the thing sleeping, I think.
It's so weird.
I'll
I
have
don't know.
my
I like
good
I like
headphones
the
back
addition of
next episode.
the B finals. Like eat shit, even if they don't score points in those. Like I just
Right.
think that helps. That helps gets people to helps get people to races.
Yeah, especially as these classes start to get back to where they were in APBA with eliminations. I mean,
Yeah. Like
I
two and a
know.
half stock, nearly every race has eliminations. Like the only ones I can really
Yep.
remember that didn't this year was like Rocky Fork. Mott
Cambridge,
didn't
APBA.
technically have eliminations, but we still split up the heats.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, Ben
like
asked for only one final, and that's like we've always brought that up, but it's always been a tough sell to this crowd. I think it'd be good. You get one trophy for the weekend, and you get three heats to rate. Like you wouldn't need the AB final because you get three qualifiers in the final.
yeah.
I think it'd be good, but
And
It
I
hard
feels
to
like
please.
when like the not. I don't want to piss people off and say this, but I'm going to say it. The way HRL does it, with one final, it makes you feel like you're racing for something bigger in that final versus
Yeah.
I won that final yesterday. I'm just going to sit back and relax on this one. Like it's a final each day is pointless. I mean,
I think it because I mean the main argument for that's always been title events, right? Having the second day in case they need to
no,
move.
because back in the day, title events, well, they used to be maybe Bobby, you can remember. I feel like we used to run Friday and Saturday, and then
we used
Sunday
to
was like a
used to be
separate day.
3-day events.
But you used to do like three qualifiers in a final for 2 days, and then they had an extra day as like an extra points
case.
day. Now it's
Okay.
just like a qualifier and a final. That's your nationals. You used to have to have two qualifiers.
Well,
Also,
I
that
want to
brings up
say
another point. Where did the worlds go? We used to race the worlds all the time. I think Clarksville in 2012 was like the last time. Why did we stop racing the worlds?
the
Just low
UIM
boat
World
count.
Championship. I don't know if because we didn't have enough boat count to stay up on the world category,
Hmm.
or just because it's an extra cost to the UIM to actually have it. There is extra cost in having the worlds on, so I don't know if Race Ice just wanted to cut it out to try to save some money, but I always thought it
Yeah.
was cool. I mean, when I won the worlds, whenever they had the Triple Crown in Cambridge, it was cool. I mean, I got an invitation to the UIM World Championship banquet in Monaco, and I was like, "This is cool," but I'm fucking broke. I can't go there.
Yeah, I'll hang that on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, but
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
but in back to the like two finals thing, I think you just lose a lot of your marketability too. Like build up for people to come back on Sunday. Like
Mhm.
people are checking out the race on Saturday. How do you get them back on Sunday? Except for telling them, hey, the big finals tomorrow, especially in
Yeah,
classes with eliminations.
yeah,
I mean, you're building it up to, hey, so and so Eddie and Grant haven't raced each other all weekend. Here they're racing each other in the final.
yep,
It's just a build up, but it's hard in APBA. I feel like to get that kind of stuff passed because, and it might upset people, but like well, Bobby said, we ain't worried about it. The West Coast doesn't have to worry about fans at all their events. Where us out here, we usually do get pretty good fan draw. Like To me, this would be a committee question to Decatur. Right now, they're the up and coming race for APBA inboard. What would they think? And would they go out on a limb and say, hey, I don't really care about everybody wanting to come here for 2 days of points? This is what my race needs because it's in
Yeah.
the rule book. You can run it. But
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, I'm not going there if it's just 1 day of points. Like, at the end of the day, why are we worried about that? We should be worried about putting on good shows for fans and
Yeah.
marketing the crap out of that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we
I mean
talked.
that's well. The problem is, you go to 1 day race. Someone wants to travel to a 1 day race. You're only going to get 250 points if you win at the title event, versus what? Wait,
Go
no,
someplace then.
150. 100. No, wait, 250, right? Because the finals worth 150, the qualifiers worth 100. So technically, I mean, you only get 250 versus you could possibly get 450 out of 2 days of racing at a title event in 1 day, 1 day racing. Then that's if you get perfect points. Now I don't know if it's worth to travel to get those bonus points, because that 1 day of racing, you're allowed to use that 50, and that 50 can make or break you at the end of the year.
Right.
I don't know. It's a better show going to one final. That's for damn sure. I mean, look at GPs. We do it. Unlimiteds do it, and the small classes are the only ones that don't do it, and they should. They should.
Yeah.
Now, we gotta stop. We gotta, as a racing organization, gotta put the whole. Well, I traveled across the country and here and this for points. Like, we gotta. We might need to put HRL has it going on. They have a package. It's perfect. APBA, they might need to put, well, their whole points battle thing aside for a little bit, figure out what's better for the sport, the fans, to try to grow it, and then go from there. I mean,
Right. I said we've had this conversation privately, and I think we will amplify it a little bit as time goes on. But like you talk about chasing high points at 2.5 stock, for example, you have to go across the country. Why did Monkey and what's the guy's name that was running with him,
Kyle
Davenport, this
Davenport.
year? Them two have raced a series together in Region 10, have spent money, but they've traveled just in Region 10. Why do they have to cross the country together to win high points? Like, why not let them win it within their series that they have? Like, it just makes, especially nowadays with the cost of everything being expensive. Like, dad used to travel all over, but he barely crisscrossed the country back in the 80s. So, why now don't we kind of make an east and a west? And especially right now with Decatur being in the center, that's your showdown right there. Find
right
out
now,
who's the best.
if you want to win high points, it doesn't come down to who's the best or who's the fastest. It comes down to who can outdollar another person, who
Yeah.
has the most vacation time to take off, who's or their own business owner and say, hey, I'm taking 2 weeks off. I'm going to travel, hit 2 races out west, and then come back. You know, that's the problem. The, you got to put it back in the racers' hands. I mean, especially the smaller boats is supposed to be lower budget, right? Split it down the middle. Have one race in the middle of the country, one point throughout the year. Say winner takes all. Um, if you want to travel, like Timmy Collins, he races mainly out west. Him and Jim Scheckler. You want to race out west? Good. You're racking up your West Coast points. If you want to come race out east, well, you'll start getting East Coast points. But it, you know,
Yeah, we need to get back to you race where you want to race because of the love of the sport and trying different venues, those kind of things. Not you're going there because you have to win high points. So you're
yeah,
spending $2,000, $3,000 because you want to win high points. Like we're just past that, I think, in this day and age of the motorsports in general. You watch all these other series. I mean, 250 Supercross does that to lower cost. I mean, a lot of series do it.
so
So
this is what I would do. I would split it down the middle, down the Mississippi, East Coast and West Coast. Do away with your top 15 days of racing. Do it all your points of racing
every
count.
race. Yep.
Every race, because it's on one side of the country, versus your best 15. You try, if you needed, you're looking, oh well, I need to go hit a West Coast race because I need one more day of racing to make it perfect day of racing. Go hit that. I know I've seen so many people, I'm not going to name any names, after their best 15 days of racing, they would stop racing for the season
Yeah.
because they didn't need any more.
Yep.
Because this one boat generally would get perfect points, so they didn't need to go support any more races. So that hurt all the races for boat count that were later in the fall. So split it down the middle. every race counts, every point counts. I mean, face it, on the East Coast, there's not that many races. On the West Coast, there's, I guess they have a fair amount of races out there. But,
Yeah,
but I think it would be better for
but it
racing
makes it
for a
all
championship.
it makes it more of a series versus a national title. And I mean, even if they wanted to leave high points in there, but we build something bigger upon this East title, West title,
Yeah,
make it big. Like that's why HRL is successful, is because they're in a nucleus of area.
yeah,
Every boat runs all the same events, and that's why I mean Region 10 has it. Like I said, they're successful out there because they all race each other all the time. That is a perfect place to market that and have a good series going. Have a mini HRL, so to speak.
if I was out in Region 10, I would have used the HRL blueprint, made a better series out there because they have so many races in a 4 to 5 hour period, and built that, got sponsors.
Right, and I mean,
They
look at it
have
too.
the
The T boats.
ultimate
I forgot
model
about
out
them.
there.
Forgot about the T boats. They had to travel west for their bonus points
East.
or east. I mean,
Yeah.
like that's those kids didn't need to take time. Well, I don't know if school was in session
Yeah, they
then,
ain't
but
got
like
school. No,
all that
that's
stuff,
August.
like why they raced each other out there that should have been settled out there, not having to come east to race each
Yeah.
other out here. Like that's the formula's there. We just gotta get out of our own heads. I feel like we've kind of seen it that you get in your own heads. You don't like that person because they're doing well, so then you just start hating on them instead of realizing, hey man, they got something going here. We should kind of look into this.
Yeah.
See what we got.
Probably more shit talking about my
Kind
rattling.
Nah, your rattlings went away. Kyle Bipes wants to start his own series. He wants to run APBA. He's going to be the next IRC chairman.
That-
You know, he
That
might
would
he
be
might very well be. He might very well be.
But yeah, that's a hard thing, and that's if you're not on chasing tails behind the scenes, that's where we're going to get some stuff done on this. We'll get that figured out. But you know what's funny? We talk about this having one final, and HRL's been throwing that format where they do two qualifiers and a final on one day.
Yeah.
So they're doing two
Yeah.
finals. It's like we're finally going to follow their thing, and then they're going to switch it up.
Yeah.
But there's a difference because they do have 25 boats that put on one hell of a show in 350. So it's like you give them the good show each day. It's a little bit
They only
different.
do that. They only do that at the races at the GP, isn't it? GP's
Correct.
right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, just trying to make some more excitement.
Because like I mean I've said it the last couple podcasts talking more about the marketing stuff, but like the weekend long build up to that final, that's where the story and the kind of the drama comes into play. When you see
Yeah,
it all
for
throughout
sure.
the weekend, people checking the app, seeing what lane they're in.
I'll give
seeing-
$100 to anyone can identify this noise that's coming out of Austin's room.
We need an
Man.
audio technician. Yeah, it's doing
Yeah,
it again.
hold
Austin's like, what?
I'm reading comments.
Sounds
I'm
like
not even
something
moving. My hands
sounds
are
like
crossed.
something bubbling. Hey, it went away.
Oh, fuck.
I don't
Maybe you
have
gotta
a bong,
talk
I
every now and then.
swear.
Maybe it's when you go silent for too long.
Well,
It
I'll
comes
just
down.
keep on talking and rambling bullshit. And
If you keep talking, everyone
When-
in the chat's going to pass
Hey,
out because you
when
are.
doubt, we got this.
Then the only other thing towards our show is that I think it lasts too long. Obviously HRL has so many heats you can't condense it much, but our shows here on the East Coast definitely can condense that stuff. Be like a 3 hour window, be done. Let the fans, and then have like a little fan fest, a little concert, something.
All right, we got people thinking it's your piece, fans in your computer.
Well, my microphone's up here and my computer's down below my desk over there, so that might be out of there.
Definitely sounds like a marble. That's what Connor said.
I'll just start banging my stuff on my
There we
desk,
go.
and then it will
Well,
sound
normally
normal.
you're putting Legos together or something. You
Dude,
got like
hold up.
fidgets around here.
Hey, I just played Legos today with my son Benjamin. He just turned 7, so we got him Legos. Holy
Oh, check
crap.
that thing out.
Does that thing
That's
run?
pretty cool. It ain't a Honda.
It's
Ain't
a
no
whole.
Honda.
Well, sadly, it ain't no Honda, but it at least is a functioning V8 engine.
There you
Oh,
go.
that's pretty sweet.
Hey, that brings up the LS proposal that's in 350. I think that was a well written proposal by the Hills. trying something. It's an EFI LS motor. Why not try it? It worked for them. I know probably going to get shot down or something because it hasn't been in a competitive boat. I think we just got to get rid of that mentality sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not never going to get put in a competitive boat unless it's approved and people
Yeah,
come in for the
I
elusive high
explained to
points.
some I explained to some people, like, go ask all these people who are competitive racing for a win every weekend. Be like, hey, if I put an engine in your boat, but you can't win anything next year or collect any prize money or tow money, will you run this engine? They're all going to say no. So
Yeah,
putting an engine, experimental engine, in a competitive boat, unless it's HRL funded, like HRL funded it, put it in a boat and did it, it's never going to happen. Um, so you got to give this LS a chance. I mean,
yeah.
it's it's
Again,
gotta
like
it's coming up with more. It's coming up with times again, coming up with the current
yeah, I feel
times.
like we're learning again, and we'll keep saying it. We're such a small nucleus. We can make adjustments on the fly. There's social media. We don't have to put out like a letter in the mail to say, "Hey, we're changing this rule." Like literally, I can hit all 31 boats in the 2.5 stock class within a minute
Yeah,
nowadays. Like I have them all connected. So and same, I'm sure 350 we could set that up and help people with that. Like we're all connected. We don't need to. If there's something that needs to be changed, hey, all of a sudden Jeff puts it in his boat. It's whoa, it's way fast. All right, let's dial it back.
yeah.
There's ways. It's not like the base engine's the problem. If it's too fast, it's probably the tuning or maybe you need a restrictor plate. I mean the 350 engine right now is restricted. It's a 350 is not built to run a two barrel. They restricted it with two barrel. Why'd they do that? Because they realized the four barrel made too much horsepower and was too fast. So they made adjustments on the fly.
And at the end of the day, so what if this LS, if you put this LS motor past this LS motor and it goes out and it blows people away, and you have to tune it down a little bit for the next race? You're not racing for $1 million at a race. You're racing for a paper certificate that says congratulations for coming. Have a safe trip home. Like
Right.
it all right. So you didn't get great points. So who cares? People need to try things to better the sport. And if we don't try things, we're going to stick and be in the Stone Age, working with wrenches on a carburetor trying to tune it. I mean,
Right.
we got to get
Well, and
away
that's
from
a
this.
again the power of an EFI engine and a fuel injected engine. All that stuff is the ability to restrict it. You can't like they tried on the T boats, and I've tried it in the past on other boats. Is putting a restrictor plate on a carburetor chokes it down for a limited time. But once it gets screaming at the end of the straightaway, you're back to pretty much full flow. When you put a restrictor plate on a fuel injected motor, you wind up retuning it, so now it's not getting enough fuel, so it's making less power. It's pretty easy. Suck, bang, blow. That's all an engine is. Vipes, I need that shirt, please. So yeah,
So yeah,
that's let's
Alan
just keep
Nelson.
improving.
Yeah, Alan Nelson just had a good point. He said race officials have to seriously pay attention to race flow. Good management can improve the show enormously, which I totally agree. I mean, you know, you can go to one race and see a awesome show, take the same boats to another race and have a horrible show,
Yeah,
and it's all about communication between the race director and the starting line. If you have one person trying to run everything from the pits, the race course, the starting line, all the same person, it's going to go slow. That person's going to get wore out. Too much stuff on their hands. You got to delegate the responsibilities at a race to the right people to be able to knock off heats and get everything going. And also, I gotta say, it's also starts with the crane guys. You have to have some good crane guys, like HRL. I hate keep saying HRL, but guys, they have the ultimate package right now. Right now. But if you look at their crane guys go from the same race all over, and they
and their crane out, the people working the docks, the people working the
yeah.
pits. Like
So they know how to lift boats, put them in, swing them, everything. So I mean, but not every race site can do that. But maybe have a little meeting with your crane guys saying, hey, this is what we do and this is how we make the flow go a lot faster going in and out of the water. And then you have to have a person with that crane. But other than that, like, your race director needs to be on top of things in the pits, getting boats to the crane, letting the race official just be the race official and say, do we have a green course? Can we send them out? Blah blah blah. You know, it's Alan is hit the head on the nail. Hit
Yeah,
the head on the nail. Yeah,
nail on the head.
nail on the head.
I don't
You
know.
know what I mean? But
Yeah,
yeah,
something like
it's
that.
all about management at a race site. You can take 20 boats and make a good weekend out of it. You just got to know what to do. Sometimes you got to throw the book out the window and just say, hey, we're gonna have what do you call it? Duels. We're going to have duels with these two boats, duels with these two boats. We're going to have invitational with these 8 boats that are all different classes. Like these race directors, you know, when you have low boat count, you got to figure out how to mix it up and make the better show for the fans. Because ultimately, if you don't have a good show, you might not be on next year, or you might not be on the year after. Um, so you gotta change some things on the fly. The rule book is just a rule book to try to
Yeah.
guide you on what to do. But
Yeah, and on that event management side, I feel like a lot of the races are doing a good job. At least that we see out east. Like obviously the Region Four races always had Oogie and Baron running the show. They were consistent because they went to 4 races a year back in the day, especially with port deposit stuff like that. Region Six, I think with Tom English, he does a lot of them, I believe. It like when once you have the same people running the same events, you get a
yeah,
really nice flow. And as long as the boats are going in and out of the water, you can pretty much do anything with your show at that point. It all starts there, and then obviously if boats break down, getting them out of the way, those kind of things hold up the show. But I think it's doing good. Oh
all
yeah,
right.
definitely. We would love to come
Grant
back there.
Carruthers just said, "What do you guys think racer interest would be to return to the Atlantic Canada?"
I would
So,
love it. PEI,
But
cocaine.
is he talking about cocaine or
yeah,
PEI? I'll go to both.
Yeah.
It's like a day's drive, but
He said
it's
cocaine, not cocaine.
oh, now
watch out.
but
Bob will be pronouncing that. Yeah, we're going to cocaine
go
this year.
cocaine,
And the
cocaine, and
beeve will come out of the woodworks like, heck yeah, we are.
uh, but
PEI
no,
was beautiful. I love that place.
it was awesome. I mean, I remember doing go karts on PEI and going to the little thing and
Thought he was going to say something else.
oh no, I had fun there.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. No, I think there'd be interest. I don't know. Would it be an HRL race? Would it be CBF? I mean, I don't know.
I
Grant,
think
you
it'd be
tell
good.
us. What do you have in mind there, bud? We got
It was
talk to
proposed a
us.
few years ago, from what I thought I heard, that they were going to they were trying to get us back out there. I mean, again, even if you start small with just the 2500s and the 350s and just build it, get the buzz going before you bring Grand Prix because that's a huge expense. But
I agree,
it
Grandel.
definitely would be great to go back out there. It is a long drive though. Yes. Heck yeah.
He's even got the River City printing stamp on it already.
God, he is on it.
What?
Vipes already sent us something, and it wasn't a text that you're not supposed to read. It's actually a
Oh,
good one. I like how that
um,
shirt it looks.
TJ has a good point. Canada has 9 million lakes, yet 3 races are on a river.
Yeah, you can't get off that dang river, can they?
Nope.
They
I
might
mean,
as well write a song about it.
I mean, I've talked about this in the past. I think if you go to look for new race sites, I mean, PI would be out of this equation. That if we have PEI, that's cool. It's a destination race. Everyone I think would love it. It's an experience to go there. Um, but if you put on a new race, it needs to be near a decent sized town. It
Yeah,
needs to be because it needs to have riverfront viewing right from the town to generate that money that the race needs to keep growing.
yeah,
You don't have if you put it in a lake or a river where there's no town, the chances of you getting a huge crowd are slim to none. I don't care what package you bring, what show you bring, you're not going to have that many people.
kind of like a Long Sioux. That was our best race
Yeah.
course for
Yeah.
HRL, but you couldn't get the fans because it was
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere or
Yeah.
like Maze Landing, stuff like that. So, that's what Janik and I talked about. That is like they HRL's kind of said like, well, we don't have race sites coming out to us, and again, we're back on HRL, but I think we're looking in the wrong places, or we're just not out there being exposed enough. And now with social media growing, and like my point is, get on LinkedIn. Like I'm huge, but going to be bullish on that with GPA and stuff. Is that's where the money players are. That's where the people that make decisions in towns are. So all of a sudden they see this show you can bring, you have fans and all that. They're like, whoa, that's unique. Like, I'd love to bring that to my town. Next thing you know, you're going to have like people from Toronto or in the US and like big destinations calling you. I mean, I was at Clemson and had a contact talk to me about, she's like director of tourism or something in Tampa Bay. So we were talking about bringing St. Pete back. Like, you just wind up connecting with people and you keep talking about it or keep putting it out there. And there's people that are interested in our sport because it's something unique that they can put
I
on.
mean, look at places that where there's a body of water where we could race. Thanks, this is Grandel pointing this out, that have festivals. Go to that festival and try to talk to someone who is involved in putting on that festival. Um, and tell them, like, look, we can bring you this X amount of boats. Would you be interested in putting this on boats that go over 100 miles an hour to 160 miles an hour? And be like, we can help each other. This will help us and we can help your festival. I mean, more sell it to helping them. And, you might spark some interest. I think that's the best way rather than trying to build a race and build a festival around it. Just piggyback on something, and they'll see their numbers grow once you announce that there'll be boats racing on the water going over 100 miles an hour. I mean, it's guaranteed.
Yeah, how about this one? Toronto Waterfront Festival. That seems pretty intriguing. Just a
Yeah.
quick Google search. I don't know anything about it, but it's June 28th and 29th.
I mean,
On the,
I don't,
like there's tons of festivals.
I don't mean to knock any races that are on right now, but if we can get put on at a bigger town, a bigger event, and it's the same race day as a race going on right now, we have to do it. We need that exposure. We need to grow. I mean, backyard races are not helping our sport grow. I mean,
Yeah.
I love I love every race that's out there, but we need bigger events. I mean, look at GP going to Guntersville, Madison, Valleyfield, Tri Cities, San Diego. Like, these are all big events. Yeah, we piggyback off H1, or is H1 wait, or is H1 piggybacking off GPs? We have the more boats.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
But
it's, and like Kyle Bipes had a point, like, what about some of the bigger venues that have went away in the past? And this would be like a Villa Marie PI. Like, what happened? I mean, this is years ago. A lot of things could happen, but could we do better? Like, learn from it. I feel like a lot of times things go away and you're like, yeah, what? It is what it is. Move on. But definitely needs a show, a festival. I put that on GPA last week, just trying to get people's opinions, and we'll put it on Chasing Tails as well. Is just what doesn't make a good event. A fan zone for kids. I mean, these are family events, so you need stuff for kids to do during the day while the parents are
yes,
watching.
100,
Beer,
150%.
beer tent, beer sales got
Pipes,
to be there.
Pipes,
Yeah,
did you hear that?
he's
We
got
want
the
a kid
playground
zone.
right there.
That's right. He's got. Yeah, I've been there. Or with my kids.
Yeah, Bobby's been at the playground. Sheesh, he gone. But yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. There's so many. It's all the exposure thing. I think we're on the right track with a lot of things we're trying to do that are going to build that exposure, and we'll have towns reaching out, big towns.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about getting.
I mean, look at
like,
what Wildwood had. I mean, what Wildwood built. That's a tourism destination, and that was one of the best events we had here on the
Yeah.
East Coast.
they had a lot of fans there,
Yeah,
and it
would
was
draw.
nice that there was a bar at the race site.
Right. And that was off season. I wonder if like you went
Yeah.
in season, would have been more expensive for us because it would have been hard
Yeah.
to find hotels, but I
Probably.
bet there'd be a lot more fans.
Yeah, that was a fun race. But yeah, like, I mean, even if you find a race that's on a same race date, find a festival that wants to pay money. Be like, well, that's the same race date as this race. Then you just say, show me the money. Who's going to pay more? I don't.
Exactly.
I mean, these boats don't run off of wishes and thank yous. So
No, they run off.
I mean,
something
I don't mean that in any disrespect to anyone who puts on a race or any fans, but I mean, this is the only way how you grow. You keep going to places that make the racers money, And then once you can tell someone who's thinking about getting the sport, be like, yeah, you go to this race, and this race, you make this amount of money, versus like say out of these 5 races, you'll make 40 grand, versus you go to these 5 races and you'll get $10,000 total. Like money talks. Money talks. Money can bring in new people. So
Yeah.
prize money and big festivals and events that can pay, that's gonna eventually what brings in new racers. I don't care if your race has been around for 150 years. I mean, if you're making good money and you got to pay, you got to start paying the racers if you want them to stay. Or there's other races out there, and we're going to find them. We're going to find them. I don't know
You'll
how.
always be on this podcast talking about this wee shit, and then it winds up being Brandon do shit.
Hey man, with this Honda thing, I'm glad I have unlimited call, because between you and the IRC people I've been talking to, and then Timmy Collins, man, I racked up a lot of hours.
Man, my dad gets sick and tired of me. I walk in the shop, he'd be like, "Who you talking to today?" I'm like, "I don't know. We'll see what the meeting calls, man."
You know, the funny thing is, you know how many times I'm like almost like I'm at where I'm supposed to be going, but I'm on the phone, so I just keep driving, and then I forget like to turn around, and I'll hang up, and I'm like, fuck, man, I'm like 20 minutes away from where I was supposed to
Right.
go.
Instead of
Exactly.
just sitting in the parking lot or the driveway.
Yeah, I remember he told me one time he was on the phone with Jimmy Stewart for like over an hour. He's like, "I've been in the Home Depot parking lot for an hour." I'm like, "Have you ever heard of, hey man, I gotta run?" Like,
No.
Jimmy doesn't stop
Yeah.
talking. Jimmy
Oh,
doesn't stop
it was
talking.
Jimmy. I'm sure it was Jimmy that didn't stop
Yeah.
talking.
No, he does a lot of talking. Great guy.
Yo,
Though.
so I got a bone to pick with HRLs. I don't even. Carson must put this thing back here. Well, we get this championship. This is the championship trophy. I don't want nothing with the Steeler on it. Nothing. Why they gotta put the Steeler on my trophy? I ain't cool.
I don't know.
I don't have any beef with the Steeler. I love that team.
So technically, they got a trophy even though they didn't get one.
Yeah, technically, they're on everybody's trophy. Like, come on, do something a little different. You can definitely tell that's the Steeler.
Ben LeMay thinks it's your intestines, Austin.
It
Yeah.
might just be they're shorter. They be working extra.
He
So
was
we're-
in an accident, and his intestines are shorter because they had to cut like 2 feet out. So it could
Yeah.
be.
So Bipes is going to start the HRA. So next year, the
HRA.
HRA will have a presidente. He'll be God Bipes. And then we'll just be peons under him to speak about everything and get everybody on board. But with that said, we will be working on a Chasing Tails challenge. It's kind of built off the GP challenge, East Coast races, and maybe we can get some West Coast. Do some of that Region 10 challenge too out there if we can get something going. We don't have a lot of money or any money, so to speak, but we got a lot of media power, and that's what we want to bring more exposure to the race sites that are there. Right now, I feel like having all these marketing meetings, I go back to, say you're a race site, like the KNRA guys going to Edgewood. What do you have to give a sponsor except for a banner at a race? They don't have a Facebook page or anything like that. And that's where I feel like our platform, Chasing Tails, can help these race sites. Like, hey, look, they're going to get content. Every reel that gets posted that comes from this event is going to have your logo on it, seen up to 1 million times potentially. That's where we're going to use our platform to make these races better and obviously get teams exposure too. If we can get the commitments of boats to go to, say, 4 events, we'll build a challenge around it, and maybe we'll come up with some money. You never know. That'll be in coming soon episodes. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
That would have been a great outro.
If we get boats,
But here we go for another hour. This episode was supposed to be an hour or less.
I don't even
We
know what time
cannot do it. We cannot do it, man. We say it every time, and we can't. So I'm glad we came on this week. We weren't going to come on this week. We were going to wait till after next week and do 2 at once, and probably would have been 2 hours.
I told you, dude, there's no way we
Austin
were gonna
has a
get both
slow
those.
leak.
Austin.
Oh shit.
No, don't worry. They've checked both sides with the camera. I'm sealed up tight.
That marble rolling around ain't sealed
Man,
up tight.
that
That's for
camera
sure.
that camera couldn't have felt good. I can tell you that. Hopefully, they use some 40 weight engine oil to get that thing up there.
Jesus.
Well, boys,
Oh man.
I think we're at the point. You got wrapping up thoughts. Let's do closing thoughts. Start with you, Rattle Can Austin.
I think rattling's good. No, HRL Gala sounded like it was a blast. Congrats to all the champions. It's gonna be fun out in Reno this upcoming weekend. If anyone has any questions or anyone they want specifically interviewed or chased down and yelled at, just let me know down in the comments.
So, Kyle,
Yeah, no, I mean the gala was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got to go back up to that. Definitely plan on going next year. Like Austin said, congrats to everybody that won awards. It's it's a feel good event, and it's good to see people get recognized for their accomplishments and what they give back to the sport. And look forward to getting some info out of Reno next week and see what next season is going to look like. Got a few things riding on the line, so.
yeah, I'll go on that note. All right. Like I said, guys, if you're on the IRC and you're watching, it is time to push this Honda through 2025. Let's go. We've been needing a new engine for years. We have a parts problem. I cannot get aluminum head right now. I cannot get a cam right now. And I don't care if a guy on the West Coast has 3 aluminum heads and 20 cams. He shouldn't be supplying the whole class, and he can't supply the whole class. So we need a new engine. We need to get this passed. We need to put it for 2025. We already have 8 boats switching over to it, or are already switched over to it. That's 13, a third of the class. 13 people that's either switched to the Honda or switching to the Honda. That is over a third of the class. We got to switch. If you want to take the biggest class in APBA and shrink it down to not the biggest class, then be my guest. But it needs to pass this year to make it. We'll be back on here. We'll be back on here next Tuesday, hopefully with some good news. I think upcoming guest, we're going to have Sean Bowser at one point talking about the cater. And then what's her name from Guntersville?
Katie Norton.
Katie Norton from Guntersville at one point in the next few episodes.
And
so
Dave Villwalk scheduled to come on at some point too. Once
Dave
things settle down, he said it's busy out there right now. So can't wait to hear what busy means.
All right.
I did also see, speaking of him, somebody posted on Hydro News that he moved to Indiana. I had no clue. So
he's in Indiana?
Maybe he's working on something with Madison Incorporated.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
so.
So yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So pretty cool on Katie coming on, Sean coming on to talk about their races, trying to hype them up, and Dave can Villwalk. Let's go.
Yeah,
that's sweet.
Continue to be exciting here on Chasing Tails. Like we said, we're gonna build up a lot of race sites. Obviously, April's coming fast for the West Coast. May's coming fast for us here on the East Coast. Obviously, I have Test and Tune in April as well. Lots of cool things. I think the IRC is going to make some good decisions coming soon on all the things we discussed. I really hope that LS engine kind of gets another chance, gets a push to the next level, and let's just keep learning. Let's keep making the sport better, bringing it into the future.
And then some news about GP soon, right?
Do we have more news about GP?
I mean, GP as a whole?
GP.
I
mean, we probably gonna have more news about GP. Just you guys follow along.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow HRL, GPA for that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things coming out about the GP challenge here shortly. We're not gonna wait till right before to promote it this time. And obviously follow Chasing Tails for your latest news, rumors, gossips, and Kyle Bipe's rants and Bobby's rants and Austin playing with marbles and Kyle just sitting there looking pretty. There's the rattle. We found it.
Whoa.
But anyway, y'all, that's it for episode 36. We appreciate y'all listening to us banter and talk boat racing. We'll see you next time.
Taylor Evans, U40.
Why is my